Hello and welcome back to my channel where we explore how to develop your soft skills and create the life you desire. Today we're going to talk about, drum rolls, procrastination. So if you ever find yourself putting things off or just postponing goals, tasks and so on, just keep watching because we're going to see one of the 4 main reasons why we procrastinate in life. Whenever you have a goal, but you still find yourself procrastinating, the question is, if you have chosen to pursue this goal, why do you still keep procrastinating? There's something really wrong in there. And very often people tell me, oh yes, sorry, it's just that I am so lazy. Let me open an aside about laziness. I don't believe that laziness exists, or better, I think that everyone is lazy. But no one doesn't do things out of laziness. I believe that we are all lazy as human beings, and that's amazing actually as a characteristic because that's why we find solutions to things that otherwise we wouldn't have found. Laziness is never the reason why we don't achieve things, but it is at times the reason why we find new solutions, new ideas, shortcuts, better ways of doing things. Laziness though, it's very comfortable as an excuse for everyone. Why? It's convenient because whenever I don't do something, I can just blame my old friend laziness and just resign to the fact that I'm lazy, so that's why I don't create what I want. Reality is that whenever we don't do the things that we are supposed to do, laziness has nothing to do with it. There are other reasons. And today we're going to understand one that is really important because it's at the root of all those reasons. First of all, we need to understand that there are certain goals that we just have to do and others that we have chosen. And my question is always this. So if you have chosen a goal, why don't you do the actions? The first step is to understand, is this my goal? Because very often what I realize is that a lot of people, and you may have some areas in which you do the same, choose some goals not because that's the goal that they want to achieve, but because they kind of feel pressured in choosing that goal. For example, it may be learning a language, it may be learning some trading, learning a new skill, trying certain new things, and just because others do it, just because it's normal to do it, just because it's a duty. That's where we need to pay attention. Doing things because you must, or because you think that society thinks is good, or because they are very useful, but with that shallow usefulness of, yeah, I think everyone does it, so it should be done, that's never enough. So if you realize that you have a goal that you have selected, and that you have selected for that reason, the first thing to do is to understand, okay, is it still my goal? If it is, fantastic. You can move on to the second step that we're going to see. If it is not, you need to have the courage to change it. But before changing it, you need to be sure. So at times you may feel like, okay, I don't know if it is my goal or someone else's goal. Maybe I want to learn Spanish because my friend is Spanish, but do I really want to? So when you're confused, do this. Just start digging into the reasons why you want to learn that language, the reasons why you want to tackle that goal, the reasons why you want to start this new project. And you will see by digging into the reasons and really asking yourself, okay, why do I want it? What will this allow me to create? What will this prevent me from creating? So at times there are positive consequences, at times there's the avoidance of negative consequences. So ask yourself, okay, is all of this that you come up with enough for me to pursue it? If the answer is yes, fantastic, let's move on to step 2. If the answer is no, really, you need to dare. You need to say, okay, listen, this is not for me. I chose it for the wrong reasons. Let me go and start something that I really want. The second step, once you know that that's your goal, but you find yourself that you're still procrastinating and putting off and postponing and so on, what do you need to do? You need to understand that the reason of that, one of the main reasons of that, is to be linked with your SSE. What is your SSE? SSE stands for sense of self-efficacy. What is the sense of self-efficacy? It is the perception that you have of how able you are to achieve that goal. So it doesn't mean how able you are, because that matters zero. What matters is your perception of how able you are. At times, your SSE will be balanced, and that's when you feel challenged by the task, but also able to do it, and so your motivation is high and you will not postpone things like those. Other times though, you will feel that your SSE is not balanced, and that's where you need to work. What does it mean that your SSE is not balanced? Some people say that the problem with SSE is that when it is too low, so when you believe that you are not able to achieve that task, you will postpone it, and that's very, very true. But we shouldn't forget the other side of the coin, which is that your SSE may also be too high. What does that mean? It means that when it is too high, you are not going to do the task anyway. Okay, think about this. When the SSE is too high, it means that you feel extremely able to do it. It's like below you. And when something is below you, you just find it boring, you find it repetitive, you find it dull, and so you won't do it. You will tell yourself, okay, yeah, I have time to do it. Maybe your deadline is in 5 days, but you know that this thing will take just 2 hours, and so you just postpone it and postpone it and postpone it until you have 2 hours left. And then at that point you feel, okay, now I need to do it because otherwise it will be too late. The problem in that is that when it is a 2-hour task, it can be done. When you're talking about big projects, it cannot, because otherwise all the unforeseen things that will come in the way, you are not able to deal with them. The other case is when your SSE is too high, and so when your SSE is too low. So when your SSE is too low, what happens? That you feel that the task is above you. It's too hard for you. So a lot of people, for example, have this when they talk about learning a language or learning something new, but it could be about any kind of social thing that you want to do, any kind of skill that you want to develop. And maybe you think, okay, listen, this is really above me. So if it is above me, what happens? Then my mind wants to protect me. So remember this, that your mind has one purpose above every other purpose in the world, which is to protect you. So if you already know that you're going to face failure, you would rather not do anything and call yourself lazy rather than actually facing sure failure. So that's why you don't do things in that case, because you know already that you're going to fail. You know already that the result will not be good enough for you. So rather than facing that feeling of I've given everything and it wasn't enough, your mind says, you know what? Let's just tell ourselves that we're lazy. This word, laziness. And so you don't do things. So how can we work on these two? High SSE and low SSE. We need to rebalance our SSE. How? If it is too low, easy. You need to break your goal down into smaller things that you can achieve. And on the other side, you need to develop your skills and create more references. So if I have learning a language as a big goal, what will happen? Then I'm like, oh my God, that's too big, I'll never manage. Okay, so let's break it down. What is the first thing that I need to do? I need to understand the first steps, okay? Let me start by looking at the resources that I have at my disposal. Let me understand what is the first thing that I want to be able to communicate. Let me break down the goal. I don't need to become a mother tongue tomorrow. What is the first thing that I would like to achieve? Maybe I would like to have some conversations maybe with people, so a conversational level. Okay, so let's start with that. On the other side, you also need to develop your skills. So understand why you see it as so big. Maybe you are not sure about how to learn effectively. Maybe you don't know how to tackle a language. Maybe you have bad references about your past languages that you tried to learn. So develop your skill and create new references. So every time you succeed at something and you remember some words, or you manage to say something to someone in that language, or you read something and you understand it, make sure that you notice those, because very often we don't notice our positive references, but they are there, and they are there to increase our SSE so that we actually feel able to do things next time. And the next language that you will want to learn, or the next, I'll use the language as an example because it's something very, I hear very often, but it could be any other skill, right? But so the next time you need to face a new goal that initially seems big, you have something tangible to look at. You have tangible references of times in which you made it. And given that you made it, then you can make it again. So to recap, we understood that the reason why we procrastinate has nothing to do with laziness. One of the main reasons, though, really lies in our SSE, our sense of self-efficacy. So ask yourself, okay, how can I rebalance my SSE? Because when you rebalance it, you will see that you won't even feel the urge to procrastinate. It will just be, listen, this is something that I want to do. This is something that's challenging me. This is something that will help me to become better. This is something that stimulates me. And when some task has this power on us, then we want to do it. So apply, let me know how it goes. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or doubt that you want me to tackle, and I will see you in the next video.